Blog Talk Radio.
President recognizes Mr. Adams of Massachusetts.
Objects of the most stupendous magnitude. Measures which will affect the lives of millions, born and unborn, are now before us. We must expect a great expense of blood to obtain them. But we must always remember that a free constitution of civil government cannot be purchased at too dear a rate, as there is nothing on this side of Jerusalem of greater importance to mankind. My worthy colleague from Pennsylvania has spoken with great ingenuity and eloquence. He has given you a grim prognostication of our national future, but where he foresees apocalypse, I see hope. I see a new nation ready to take its place in the world. Not an empire, but a republic. And a republic of laws, not men. Gentlemen, we are in the very midst of revolution. The most complete, unexpected, and remarkable of any in the history of the world. How few of the human race have ever had an opportunity of choosing a system of government for themselves and their children. I am not without apprehensions, gentlemen. But the end we have in sight is more than worth all the means. I believe, sirs, that the hour has come. My judgment approves this measure, and my whole heart is in it. All that I have, all that I am, and all that I hope in this life, I am now ready to stake upon it. While I live, let me have a country. A free country.
All right, everybody, Joseph Gibson here, podcasting from Greensboro, North Carolina here tonight. We'll be live here in a couple minutes. Let's see, just lining up callers. I see some here that are familiar numbers, and everyone gets a voice here, as always, on understanding the times in which you live in today. And hopefully we'll have an honest discussion here tonight and talk about things that concerns you and what's on your mind that is relevant. Crank callers, of course, we'll try to block them, mute them as best as I possibly can. But I try to give everyone a reasonable voice to speak. So we'll be live here in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and then I'll open up my first caller, and I'll probably most likely skip my long introduction in the beginning. So just give me about 2 minutes, please.
Because I feel like this all the time, trying to politically awaken people that they're being lied to, that there's an agenda. It's not left or right. It's, hey, there's mind control going on. The signal's broadcast 24 hours a day through all this media. Just become aware of it, and they'll say there's nothing going on. And I want to say, put on these glasses or start chewing concrete.
They have taken the hearts and minds of our leaders. They have recruited the rich and the powerful. And they have blinded us to the truth.
The question is, do we all work for central bankers? That's what I want to address to our guest tonight.
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
An estimated 50 to 70 million Americans suffer from a sleep disorder or sleep deprivation.
Outside the limit of our sight, feeding off us, perched on top of us from birth to death, are our owners.
Latest census numbers prove the United States has the biggest gap between rich and poor compared to all westernized countries today.
Our projections show that by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance. The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite.
That for the first time in all of human history, mankind is politically awakened. That's a total new reality.
I've got one that can see.
We can't be the only ones who can see.
Unfortunately, you've grown up hearing voices that incessantly warn of government as nothing more than some separate, sinister entity that's at the root of all our problems.
It's a new morning in America. Fresh.
All right, everybody, Joseph Gibson podcasting here live, understanding the times in which we live in today. Obviously, I've got many people in the chat room here. Tony Talk is very upset with me. I don't know why. Maybe he'll call in and explain why. But I won't keep you on hold, Tony Talk, like you may do to me for 45, 50 minutes. But I do have one caller first that I do need to address here that did call in, and I have to go in order. But I'll express much concern here why Tony Talk is upset with me, a fellow podcaster here on Blog Talk Radio. But we're here to understand the times in which we live in today, and that is what is most important. Like I said, I'll skip my intro. I won't lay down a platform here. I'll allow you to lay down that platform. So first, let's go with John, 662 from Mississippi. John, you want to speak? Go ahead, John.
Yeah, okay, where we left off last night, you were asking me the Constitution was written by men and the Bible was written by men. Correct?
Okay, that's correct. You're absolutely correct. We did to leave off from last night also. We need to address that tonight. You're absolutely correct. But what's your opinion on what I had to say? The floor is yours. I will not interrupt you. Go ahead.
Well, I want to go ahead and just keep on from there, I guess. Yes, the Bible was written by man, I believe. It has a lot of good things in it, but it also has a lot of bad in it. It has a lot of teaching to indoctrinate people to accept people ruling over them, you know, and that's where the bad comes in. Because you're taught to submit to fear. You're taught to submit to a higher authority, you know, when in reality, I believe we're all the higher authority. I think we're all God in ourselves. Definition of God is one that creates, you know. We all create. So we're all gods. We all have the ability to create. Now, what we create is a different story. But when you give your God powers to one man, when many give it to one man, power corrupts, absolute power absolutely corrupts, you know? And that's the problem we're faced with the Bible. Too many people follow one person, and they rule with fear. If you don't do this, you will go to hell. If you don't do this, this will happen to you. That will happen to you. And now the Constitution. It was written by men that had just freed a nation from a government before the government was formed. Okay? It was written by the people, of the people, for the people, to control the government. If you get the original Constitution and you're able to read it, I have a copy, but it's not legible. It's so minute, the writing they did intentionally. Hard to find online. I haven't been able to find it, you know, and I've tried for many hours. But I got little pieces of it, and they stick in my head from when I was a kid, you know, and power was retained the people. They restricted the government of all over the.
Well, human government, John, human government, not to interrupt with all due respect, I'll address that here. But I want to let you finish your point. I just want to let you know that I will address that. But we've got a lot of callers on the line here tonight. So, but before you carry on, I want to let you know if God created us and He demanded all our love for Him, and we'd be walking around like robots, wouldn't we? I mean, after all, God would say, you worship me this way, and let's all be robots. And before you continue on, God gave us free will, the ultimate choice to choose between good and evil. And, see, we make that choice. God gave man his own free will to choose what is right is wrong. Now, if you sent your only son into a city and your son went into that city to save the city and he was murdered and slaughtered, and wouldn't you be pretty pissed off too and say, hey, look, you killed my only son, so here you go. You believe in my son, you believe what he did and why he died for you, and if not, this is where you're going. Now, rebellion by God, God created, obviously, man and then created woman from man. Simple as that. God, it was the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It was no woman and son, But I'll let you finish your point. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw that into your head before we address that.
What you just talked about is your religion. That's what your belief because of your religious beliefs. I have different beliefs. I have my own religion. I don't try to get involved in it. It's my own. It's something I just all different things the way they are. I'm picking up what I've taken up. As far as God creating us and giving us free will, we were born with free will. So when a man writes in the Bible, he can't say, oh, you don't have free will, because you can't take away somebody's free will. They can only give it away, okay, because it's free will. And everybody is inherently born with that. Even animals are born with free will to do what they want. But they don't believe that God gave them that free will. They know they have it. They make their own decisions, until they're trained, and then they do what their God tell them when we train them and we, control them, because we become like their gods. We take their power away from them. I have my own beliefs, I'm not here to push my beliefs or to knock somebody else's beliefs down, but I wish people would stop pushing their beliefs on everybody, because that's just the beginning of more conflict, It's just my opinion on that. I know people that follow the Bible and follow religion, they do it because they want to be better. But then they follow the teachings of man that are evil, and they try to push that on everybody else, depending on what religion you're on and what your little pet peeve is at the time, what you're going to push on the people to take away their free will, And if they don't follow religion, all of a sudden they're a heathen. They could be the best person in the world, the most loving person in the world, the most helpful to everybody around them in the world, but they're a heathen if they don't believe your religion. That means everybody in the religion has a right to attack them and make their lives miserable for no reason. And that's just something I see in religion that I don't like. So I can't any religions based on that, as much as I would like to. I mean, there are times in my life I wanted to get into
you got to remember, John, religion was created by man. There's nothing. The word religion is only, or religion is only mentioned 5 times in the Bible. And like you said, God gives you free will to choose and make your own free choice as to how you wish to believe. However, our Creator, like I said, I have documented manuscripts and evidence that show. And I also have an empty tomb that shows that Jesus Christ died on the cross and was put into a tomb and rose again after 3 days. There's documented evidence of that with over 5,000 eyewitness accounts that show he did die and rose again.
But you do understand that was all things written in the Bible. That is not something that is actually documented or proven.
Well, John, you're absolutely correct. It was written, but don't you think our Creator would be powerful enough to preserve His Word, inspired by our Creator for man to write down on paper? I mean, if God isn't that powerful enough to preserve His Word for all men to see, then I say put your God in a paper bag and he can't get out. You know, so I mean, you know, so I believe that God was able to preserve His Word, and if you look at the Bible and you rightly divide the Bible, there are 7 translations to the Bible, and the 7th translation, and you have to rightly divide the Bible. You have to understand 7 is the number of completion, and God created the earth in what? 6 days. 7th day He rested. 7 days, and 7 is continuously mentioned in the Bible, just like 3. 3 is creation. Creation. You look at an egg, you look at an eggshell, you look at an egg white and egg yolk. 3. You look at a tree trunk; it's created in 3s. Everything is created in 3s. You know, and it's very. And you're right. All you have to do is rightly divide the Word and understand that. Now, am I a pastor here or an expert on theology? No, I am not. But Dr. Peter Ventura in previous shows has addressed this, and no one has been able to disprove him yet and show that he was wrong. Like he said originally on the last show he was on, is that, look, you know, he has evidence. He has manuscripts that date back over 5,000 years, and his ultimate evidence is an empty tomb. Now, you talk about other religions. Other religions do not supply that evidence. I've debated with Muslims before. Muslims say the Prophet Muhammad is the ultimate creator, and he descended into heaven and then came across 144,000 virgins, and once he died, you know, and they say Jesus was not a Jew, but we go to Deuteronomy 18:18, which Muslims believe in, by the way, the Old Testament, and Deuteronomy 18:18 says, "I will rise him up a prophet amongst his brethren." And obviously, the Old Testament was written by a Jew for the Jew, and so obviously, brethren means Christ, the Messiah, would be a Jew. So therefore, you know, they can't disprove that. They walk away scratching their heads. Now, you want to talk about Buddha, you want to talk about energy, the Bible addresses that. But it's a subject that maybe we'll have to carry on to next week's show also. But, but I want to take all callers. No, not since when is this a Bible study? It's not a Bible study, and people in the chat room. It's just that we're carrying on a question from last night's show where I made a comment at the end of the show, and John was unable to comment back. So because we had to wrap up the show, that's all I'm saying. So everyone is welcome to join in the conversation here tonight. Press the number 1. Go ahead, John.
Now, the Constitution was written by free men, establishing a government, restricting the power of government over the people of this country. They on us. The only authority that was on were the military, because they were authorized to form a United States. Okay? That was the only power given. The Congress, the House of Representatives, was to keep the military in check. If he got, it was to keep him in check, which was the president. Not to keep the people in check. If you can get a real copy of the Constitution, it's very precise, and it keeps repeating it. The power is the people's, and they have no authority over us at all. The standing military in the Constitution, they say, is not to be on this land, is the politics that we have here. Our Department of Justice, that is what they were referring to when they said we are not to have a standing military here. We are to have a military to defend the country. That was granted. That's what the whole forming of government was. But John, you
see, we're no longer under the Constitution anymore. And now let's get to today's time. Let's skip the Bible. Let's skip the Bible and let's talk about the Constitution. Let's talk about how the Constitution was lost. The founding fathers warned us this would happen, and the money changers and the central bankers that have taken over and hijacked our Constitution and incorporated the United States through the Acts of 1871, and then hijacked our monetary system through the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, and then it was crowned a success in 1934, 1933, 34, by Roosevelt. That's why they put that Egyptian pyramid with the all-seeing eye on your $1 bill that says Novus Ordo Seclorum, which, if you translate that, that's a Greek word for one world order. So we're not under the Constitution anymore. We're not under that Constitution because you brought up an interesting point on a few shows ago. We're now under the jurisdiction of a corporation because we enter into a contract with these people.
Let me explain something to you. Maybe you don't get this part. After the Civil War, we didn't started flying the military flag, which put us under martial law. This flag that
Admiralty Maritime Law, yes, with the gold embroidered all over the flag, yes.
This flag that people think stands for freedom actually suspends the Constitution. They don't have the authority to do it. They've done it. After the Civil War, they did this. That's when they really took hold of this country and were able to do all the things with the monetary and after that. And that was 1865. That's when they really got us.
That's correct.
And they never
you're absolutely correct.
Civil flag, the constitutional flag again. They erased it from all history already. It's been taken out of pictures in history.
John, I want to leave you on the line. I know a lot of people want to get on and they're getting impatient, and I know you want to make a very lengthy point here. But I want callers to know that everyone will get a voice here. You just got to be patient. But go ahead, John. Finish up your point here, and then I'll leave you on the line because I'm sure some people are going to want to discuss this with you and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll finish it up real quick. The only reason why the Constitution is because we didn't follow the instruction manual of Amendment number 1 and Amendment number 2. We're supposed to form the militia to correct our government and to keep our government in check. That's why it was the first and second one, because it's the most important thing an American should know. Okay? We are the power in this country. When we stand united, government can do nothing against us. They can do nothing but run. Okay, go ahead. Let's get callers in.
All right, well, let's take some callers here. First 423, then 302, then private number that's been waiting here for a little bit. And then I did get a message from Tony Talk in the chat room saying he's not happy with me. I don't know why. Who knows? I don't know. I have no idea. Well, hopefully Tony will call in here tonight to the podcast, and we'll find out why he's not happy with me. I don't know. But let's not divert here. 432, go ahead.
Hey, this is Randall. I'm calling in from Texas.
Okay, Randall, go ahead. The floor is yours for a couple of minutes, as long as you keep it clean and try to talk here about something that's of some sort of intelligence. Go ahead.
You know where Texas is?
Yeah. Well, now you're asking a stupid question. Yes, I know where Texas is.
I called it
on the map.
I called because I need some advice about crabgrass on my lawn. I've got a real problem with crabgrass.
All right. Well, I'm not here to give landscaping advice here, actually, as far as crabgrass grows.
Can you come over and fuck me on the crabgrass?
All right. There you go. Goodbye. Okay, that's what you get when you do open phone lines. You get silly nonsense. Here we are having a serious theological discussion, a historical discussion, and this is what people are concerned about. Nonsense like this, you know. That's what and they're probably Tony Talk listeners. Tony Talk rejected listeners that want to have entertainment. We're not here to entertain people. We're here to wake people up. Okay? All right. Go ahead, Mendelicon, you're next. Go ahead. Let's see what Mendelicon wants to add to the podcast here. And please take a few minutes. Let's be polite to the other callers. Go ahead, Mendelicon.
I have a very serious reservation after last night's religious doctrine and the first few minutes of the programming that was based on selective amnesia, discussing the Bible and the Constitution, which has nothing, I repeat, nothing to do with the People's Revolution, nothing whatsoever. And I have to be very precise with this because some people don't want to remember, but I have to help you. Some people deliberately, such as you, Joe, as you keep constantly whipping the Bible and the Constitution of your selective amnesia. Like, this is the beginning of all time. This is the only thing that matters. What that is narrow-minded jingoism under nationalism. That's all it is. It's narrow-minded jingoism under nationalism. In other words, well, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence by the founding fathers, as you call them, I call them fondling fathers because they really fondled their rights and their duty to overturn the old world order with their new world order, you see. And then you come up with the Bible. I'll give you 10,000 years. But your selective amnesia won't allow you to engage in the hundreds of thousands of millions of years that predates those documents that you stand your life on with the Confederate flag, and Tyrone Pinocchio Thompson will stand his life on with the red, white, and blue. Both of you will kill everything outside this country if they even think about invading the United States of America. Now, here we are in this country, and everybody's imploding on themselves because of the mind control of God and country. That's all it is. It's mind control. It has nothing to do with freedom, justice, or total independence. If it did, then you wouldn't need the Big Bang Theory of the weaponry.
So Mandela Khan, what does the matriarch and the People's Revolution model itself under? That's what I would like to know, and a lot of people want to know. What does the matriarch and the People's Revolution model itself under?
It's not under. There's a
or
balance.
Over, or
and
under
live
or
and
over.
let live. Live and let live in one love is the supreme law of this land. The common law court is now interceding on behalf of class action 567. There is no race. You are
the
a
common
class.
law court, Mandela Khan, was founded under common law by the English.
Listen. No. Listen, I tell you what. I'm not going to go back and forth with you. Now, if you want to interject so that I won't be able to put what forth I want to put forth on the People's Revolution, then you can do so.
All right, put
this
forth
is your
what you want to put forth. Go ahead. I won't interject again. Go ahead.
The common law covers the whole planet. It don't cover whatever the English, who your mother, who y'all never broke with, even though you said you had a revolution with your mother, you know damn well that's a lie. Secondly, it's international law. You say you love your Constitution in the United States of America, but yet this nation goes and violates the sovereignty, integrity, and dignity of every other nation. Therefore, international law is being broken in the most vicious way. And then you use germ, biological, chemical warfare, the most lethalest weapons known to man. You saturate the world with your evil and act like, well, we love the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and Bill of Rights. Yes, you do, until it comes to the people of Africa, Latin America, Arab, and others across the planet. And then there's bingo, powerball, jackpot. Live and let live in one love. Do you know that comes from the Creator herself? That's life. That's fertility. That is the matriarch. Under your jurisdiction, under your orientation, in your limited amnesia, it's God. The weapon to the victor goes to spoils, and this guy, he had a right to punish everyone. Do you know that's one of the most twisted logics that I ever heard? Now, the Creator is the author of life, not death. So anyone who comes in with their Ponzi scheme of monopoly and corruption and then try to force, do as I say or I'm on my way, and if I don't do as you say, you're not on your way to give me a handshake.
One question real quick. The foundations and principles of international law, are you talking about international law SO 153, where the foundation and principles of international law, the general rules of international law, are, however, more than merely a framework? They remain the most important rules for many of the most significant problems and disputes in international law. Are you referring to human rights or lawful government rights? When you mention international law, I was just wondering what you're referring to as far as international law goes.
International law is anything other than your International Commercial Admiralty Administrative Remedy under the UCC, you see.
So you're talking about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Is that what the People's Revolution is about?
That is the thesis, yes. However,
okay,
it's
all
in
right.
serious,
I'm just trying to. Okay.
violation. It's in serious, serious violation, not by China, not by Russia, not by North Korea, not by Iran, not by Venezuela, but the number one violator of international law when it comes to the sovereignty, integrity, and dignity of other nations. The number one perpetrator, you're living in it, people. You got a decision to make, and you don't have a long time to make it. So I'm going to rest our case right there, but this is about revolution, overturning a rotten, filthy social system and installing the people's government in the transition of power. It has nothing to do with getting some bad white people out, putting some good black ones in, or getting some good black ones, bad black people out, putting some good white ones in. It has something to do with overturning a rotten, filthy social system that has saturated the whole planet with kill or be killed. The leader is United States of America.
You're 100% right. Okay, I can't argue with that. But the government is a terrorist organization, masquerading the government of the people, and they are terrorizing people in this country just like they terrorize the people in other countries. And that's why we need to take back control. But the mistakes we made was actually giving people power, so we can never give power to an individual again to make decisions for the people.
Well, John, real quick, to address what you said earlier, John, is that the Constitution and the principle of the Constitution was sovereign authority of God, not sovereign authority of the state or sovereignty of man. And if you look at the legal documents from the Constitution, the Mayflower Compact, Declaration, Constitution, currency oaths are mentioned in all 50 states. It's an existence of an objective moral values fixed on standards, absolute truth, sanctity of life. That declaration, unalienable rights, which describes self-evident truths, and we go back to the rule of law rather than authority of man, and that's the whole purpose of the Constitution. All men are sinners, okay. And all men are created equal. Or that's the Declaration, and then you have the judicial, legislative, and executive branches, which is the Constitution, and then you have religious freedom, which is the First Amendment, and then you have church protected from state control, taxation, but the church to influence the state, which is also in the First Amendment. And then you have a republican form of government and warnings against kings, but in favor of godly rulers. And then this all stems of what I'm saying, John, is the importance of governing self and family as first level of governance, and establish justice, which was in the word declaration, which refers back to a lot of the Bible verses that I was speaking about. Exodus 23, Leviticus 9:15, Samuel 8:3, 2 Samuel 8:15, 1 Kings 3:2-8, 10:9, Micah 6:8, Romans 13:14. You see, the Constitution. Well, my point is the Constitution was modeled after the Bible. Okay.
Okay.
And you can look this up for yourself. It's the Bible and the government and biblical principles basis for American laws. Now if you want to get into evolution or creation and science and creation, we can get into that. Or if you can get into evolution versus creation class study, we can get into that. But there's a lot here to cover and material here. But a lot of people don't understand this, and they don't get that.
Can I bring you some facts? It wasn't one nation.
Well, I just brought you some facts on the Constitution and why it was written, and those go back to the Federalist Papers from 1775 and 1774.
I have photographs of the original Constitution on my page. Okay, in my photograph album. Anybody can go look at it. Okay, it's available. I'm open to the public. Anybody go look at it. Anybody who wants to expand it. These things that you think are Constitution writings are not part of the Constitution. These are the things that were added later. There was a complete separation of state and religion. It was never to be put together. It was never formed a country under God. It was never formed by the word of God. It was was never.
That's where I disagree with you, John, because we're one nation under God, indivisible, for which we stand, one republic for which we stand.
Okay.
And I just read that to you. All 50 states and all original colonies adopted that principle in the Constitution.
No, they didn't. Not the originals. Google when they added
actually they did in the original 13 colonies. They actually did, John. And these are legal documents. The legal document, if you read the Mayflower Compact and the Declaration and the Constitution, like I stated earlier, they actually did, and then you go to Federalist Papers 109, Federalist Papers 89 by James Madison. Their original content was for the state not to conflict with the church, but yet the church to have influence over the people, and that's why they wrote the Constitution. So therefore, that we all were endowed by one Creator. Our Creator at that time, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And you can go to the Library of Congress's page and do constitutional checks and balances and facts where it says all men are sinners, and then it refers to Genesis 8:2:1, Jeremiah 17:9, and these were all quotes by the founders, actually, believe it or not. So, but then we became a democratic society, and that's why you hear we're a democracy, where the word democracy is never mentioned one time in the Constitution itself.
Okay. You talk a lot about,
but we got to study world religion and understand why the founders did what they did. But John, okay. I'll leave you on the line here. I just want to. I've got a bunch of other callers here. Press the number 1. You want to add on to the conversation or talk about constitutional law and what Mandelacon's talking about, where he's talking about common law. Common law. And let's live in one love, and everybody, let's just get along. We've been trying that ever since the days of Adam and Eve, and that has not happened. Days of Noah, excuse me. That has not happened. We have laws. Human government obviously has failed. The human government becomes a failed system because we're not giving our due or respect to our Creator. And I believe that's what the Constitution's document was written for, is that we were to respect our Creator and have a moral and righteous foundation. Now, love and let live, and the Ethiopian Empire matriarch that Mandelacon's talking about, I believe, and what he's saying is that we should all, that Mother Earth is the queen of the earth, and we should all pay due to Mother Earth, and the women of the world, the uterus, like he always says, is the queen, and therefore we need to worship the queen. But nowhere does Mandelacon ever offer any type of manuscripts or evidence or physical evidence or even historical evidence stating this to be a fact.
Hey, Joe. It's righteous for you to put your documentation on what you see, but there's where you go with that kills the messenger to hell with the message, because I
never said kill the messenger. I'm just asking for facts.
Okay, hold on. No, but see, the facts is in the proof is in the pudding, which you refuse. It's not that you don't want it; you refuse to recognize. But I'm not going to go back. I want new callers, and if it's just me, you, John, going back, I haven't done my job. I know there's a plethora of people listening.
I'll do what you request. Right? I'll take new callers then. I'll do what you request because this is open platform.
That's what I'm here
Private
for.
caller.
I'm here to
Go
build.
ahead. Private caller. I'm going to do what you request. Let's take some new callers. Go ahead. Private caller, you're unmuted.
Hello?
Private caller.
Yes.
Hello?
All right, hang on. There we go. Go ahead, private caller. Go. Come on. We got a lot of time here to talk, and we don't want to waste it saying hello, how are you, can you hear me tonight? Go ahead. What's on your mind?
My penis is 7.5 inches. I'm responding to the
ad. All right.
Next caller.
You waited all that time to say something stupid. Next caller. 617. Go ahead.
Hey, I have an 8-inch cock. I got your number from a gentleman on Grindr.
Next caller.
No, let 617 say. 617, what do you want to talk about? Come on.
I have an 8-inch cock. I got your number from a gentleman on Grindr. Yeah.
Oh, you want to hear that? This is what your guy got to tell you?
Go ahead.
You want to hear about?
He's muted. Next caller, 765. Go ahead. 765's been waiting for 35 minutes. Go ahead. 765. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. 765. You're live on Understanding the Times Which You Live in Today. Go ahead.
Hey, Queen Supreme.
I think she got nervous.
765. Go ahead. You're live. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Can you hear me? Are children's rights ratified in USA? Are their children's rights, by law protected?
If you look at what's going on, you can clearly see that children and women under what's happening on the ground.
Well, let's not talk over her, Mandela Khan. Please, let her speak. Go ahead. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
I didn't want you to answer it because I done looked it up because nobody really knows unless you look it up. U.S. ratification, I'm sure ratification is like right on, this is law, of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, period. The United States has signed the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNCRC, but is the only United Nations member state that is not a party to it. The UNCRC aims to protect and promote the rights of children around the world, and we're not a party to it, America. Right on! That's what it's about, Mr. Host of the show. It's about the children.
It's about the children. That's fine. Well, what my Bible says in the end times, children will rise against their parents and women will rule over their men. And don't we see that happening right before our eyes today?
Somebody can say that I punched you in the face and you'll kick my door in at 8 o'clock on a Friday.
Now you want to beat me up. See, now that's kill or be killed. That's kill or be killed, Mandela Khan.
That's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. They said,
no, you said punch you in the face. That's what you just said. You said punch me in the face. You didn't say that's what happened to you.
Well, I didn't
all I'm
saying
is you just asked me, Mr. Host, and I said, well, in the end times, women will rule over their men, children will rise up against their parents, and we see that happening today. And then you said that's what happened to me. So, what else do you want to bring to the table here tonight? Do you want to have a theological discussion? I mean, what do you want to talk about?
It's about not. I wanted to talk about children's rights aren't ratified. What do you think about that? They don't have rights. What gives them the rights?
Children don't have rights. Well, what kind of rights should children have today? Do we want 9-year-olds running around with guns? I mean, what type of rights are you talking about?
The Department of Child Services is breaking the law, and the cops are too.
Okay.
Really I
agree with you on that. I'll agree with you on that.
Gates in Indiana. They weren't worried about my kids. They just couldn't wait to kick my door in. Worried that I was hitting a drug dealer's face. Look at his track record. Why were they so eager to get my kids that were molested in foster care in D.C.?
Because they want to sell them. Because they want to sell your kids. That's why.
Didn't file a police report. Don't talk over me. Thank you. Didn't file a police report. Didn't have them examined. Didn't believe them. I'm saying what gives these people a right. We the people. We don't agree with it, right? But they get away with murder just because somebody said it's bullshit. I'm over it. I feel like an Indian or an African enslaved and my land's taken and my kids. That's all I had him to say. When he talks about the matriarch, this is it. It's forget these laws and forget man's ways. It used to be the spirit and having your own way home with God and love. It was all this control and capitalism business. I hate it. It don't even stand for what it stands for. It don't even stand for what it stands for. It ain't that great, Trump. It ain't that great.
All right, so what do you recommend we do then to fix the problem? Just let live and let love and everybody go crazy and let's just have everybody do whatever they want. If I grow a cornfield with 2 acres of corn, you just come and take it from me?
They want. There you go. There you go.
They called it a party. They called it a party. I don't think It's a party.
So
anyway.
you want to have a party on my labor? You're not a party to it. Well, you are actually a party to it. You're a slave to the Federal Reserve banking cartel. Yes, you are, because you want money. You know, I mean, I don't understand what your point is.
You're more like a Satanist. It's about the kids, I repeat. Tell me why. I thought I was calling to talk about this great country and all these wonderful rights that your God gave us. But children have no rights ratified in 2019.
God never gave you any rights. God never gave you any rights. God, you know, you are endowed by your Creator to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Doesn't mean that you can just. Liberty is an individual responsibility.
They don't got no
the women don't need a man to dictate
Me.
nothing.
I'm sovereign.
Can I help?
You're sovereign. See how far that gets you when you get in your car and you drive down the road and you're pulled over by the police department saying, I'm sovereign. You'll be electrocuted and hauled off to a concrete box.
For saying that children should have rights ratified in USA?
Children should obey their parents. That's the problem with our society today is children have no role models. Instead, they're looking at Michael Jordan and that other basketball player. What the hell was his name there? The other guy. Or they're looking at Tom Brady. You know, that's their role model today, the children. Instead of having a role model that our founders, our role model should be George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, people that stood up, or even Dr. Martin Luther King. You know, our role models should be people that are trying to wake people up, and not these gladiator sports figures where we're all look. We could pack stadiums all across the country every single Sunday afternoon to watch gladiators smack into each other and score touchdowns, or go to a baseball field and the guy swings a bat and scores a home run. We're all jumping up and down. Those are our role models. You know, instead, that's the problem with our country today. We don't have a creator as a role model anymore, we don't have any laws in this country anymore that we obey.
Right.
They don't have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We're not a party to it. We don't aim to protect
You're not a
party.
You don't have any rights anymore under the Constitution. That's what I'm trying to wake you up to understand. You have no rights anymore because you've been duped and tricked into a contract, and you're under the jurisdiction of a criminal corporation. And until we restore our republic, where it says not the majority rules, because the majority is two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner, you know, and until we break away from the Federal Reserve banking cartel that controls, because everyone wants that money. We want that paper. Right? We want that paper. You know, we want that fake paper, and we want to enter into their jurisdiction and be slaves. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what background you come from. Well, we all want those Federal Reserve notes, right? I need 1,000 Federal Reserve notes. It costs this to do this and do that. That's what I'm saying. That's the purpose of this show. It's not to say that children are enslaved. It's not to say that women are enslaved. You want to talk about women being enslaved? Go to Saudi Arabia, where they're thrown off rooftops because they don't cover their head. Why isn't that on Fox and Friends every single morning? Why, you know? I mean, the problem is you're being brainwashed by a banking cartel that's controlled by a majority of them, Zionist Jews, that don't have any type of love for you as a people, because they have an agenda to create a new world order, a one-world global economy, and they're doing it right before your very eyes. And I explained this a few shows ago when I predicted what Trump was going to do. Okay, you're in a major currency shift right now, and you don't understand it. You don't understand that you will be chipped. You will have a barcode in your right hand or your forehead very soon. And this all goes back to the Bible that is foretold. But we can wake up and understand the times in which we live in today, and do what and get back to being righteous, a righteous people. Now, all live in one love just isn't going to happen because we have a lot of sick people out there that just ain't going to let that happen. That's a fact. It's not going to happen.
It would take a miracle like the event is coming soon.com, like a solar flash, like God coming and going boom and everything changed, just like the Bible said. It's going to come. Believe that. You better pray to come and get it. He's coming.
Well, there you go. All right, 765. I got other callers here on the line that want to call in here. I gave you some time here. We still got an hour and 10 minutes left. I'll leave you on the line. You can mute yourself if you want, but let's be respectful. We're not going to yell over each other, or I'm just going to mute people one by one. All right? There has to be some sort of moderator. Isn't that interesting that we have to have some sort of moderator, otherwise everyone would just yell and scream at each other? Kind of sounds like God. God is that moderator, you know, and because man and women don't know how to control themselves. I'm not saying you in particular. I'm just saying use that as an example. We call this the information age, don't we? Well, let's use it for information, not disinformation. Let's understand the times in which we live in today. 313, go ahead, you're live.
Hi, this is Mike calling in from Detroit. I have a 10-inch cock. I found your number on Facebook. I have a 10-inch cock. Are you going to come to Detroit and fuck me in my hotel?
Oh, my
God. All right. You're talking, that's what you want to call in and say and talk foul language. Come on, man.
I have a 10-inch
cock.
Look,
next caller, mute that caller, or you are allowing this fucking garbage.
All right, private caller, go ahead. You're unmuted, private caller. We got a bunch of them on here tonight. This is what we get. This is what we get here when we do live shows. You know, I mean, this is just madness. Go ahead, private caller. You heard the unmuted. Shall I do it again for you? Unmuted, private caller.
Hello, hi, my name is Christoph. I'm calling about my cork size. My cork size is 10 inches on the dot, perfectly fit for your asshole.
Yep.
It's amazing.
This is a Tony Talk troll.
Next caller.
Where is Tony Talk tonight? Yeah, next caller. Let me mute that caller. You know, and this is what we're going to get most likely tonight. These are all these Tony Talk trolls that think the show is about entertainment. Okay, all right. John, I want you to continue on with your conversation here with me because I see nothing but trolls coming on here tonight. So, John, go ahead. The floor is yours for a couple minutes. Then I'm going to give Mendelicon a few minutes to talk. I won't interrupt you. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Okay, you talk a lot of the Federalist Papers. Okay, that was before the Constitution. That was the government in effect when England was ruling here. That's the Federalist Papers. When the Constitution came in, it separated government and religion. And you really got to read the Constitution to see that, the real Constitution, not what the government is showing you online and not the Federalist Papers, because they already had learned the mistakes of the past, and they implemented it the way they did to separate religion from states, God from states. That is not in the Constitution that way at all. And I know you have a hard time seeing that. And if you do any kind of research by government, they combine the two. One country under thing, one nation under God, came into play in the 1940 something. We only started writing one nation under God on the bills and things in 1957. Okay. All this is all new. It's all new history that they wrote, and they distorted past history so we would make the same mistakes again. And everybody wants to make the same mistakes as the past. We need to learn from our mistakes. Religion and people do not mix. You don't force it through government because everybody has their own religion. That was what they learned when they made the Constitution. That was the big difference. The only thing they didn't do was get rid of the monetary system. And if we'd have gotten rid of the monetary system, we wouldn't have had our country bought out from under us. You know?
All right, John. All right, John. John, let me just say this real quick here, John. Let me mute some background noise there because I think some people got some background noise. All right, John. But again, what is the solution here today? What can we do today? We can argue all day long about history and what this person said or what the founders said, and I brought some facts up to the table, and you brought some facts up to the table. But what can we do to move forward today? Let's have a solution here. What can we do? And I want to pose this question to everybody out there. What can we do today to restoring how we live here today? Because obviously our system is broken. Obviously it's corrupt. We're never going to agree on the past. That's clear from this podcast show. Even though most of us are friends here, you and I, John, are friends. We know that. We disagree on some subjects here and historical facts. But what can we do to move forward today? What is the new way? What is the new way? What do we do to move forward today? Let's give some facts, solutions here to the problem.
Okay. I can explain exactly what we do in detail. It's going to take a while, but basically we have to exercise the Second Amendment, which is right there for us. So that's all we got to do to take control of the country. We, the people, stand up, exercise the Second Amendment. They have nothing to fight against us with. We are the military. We are the entire country. The elites have no power here once we stand united at all. Then we change the system. We get rid of the monetary system, go to a tribal system, to where everybody does a little bit of work every week. 20 hours a week would all be required because we'd have 100% of the workforce working towards the betterment of each other. So we wouldn't have to work much. So I don't think people would complain about that too much. And then in return, you get anything you want because everything is provided for free, land of the free. And nobody's going to need big toys for themselves because they're going to be provided for everybody. We'll have amusement parks for whatever anybody wants to do. If you want to go on a boat, you just go to the marina and check out a boat that day. You don't have to own it. You don't have to take care of it. You don't have to maintain it. There'll be people working doing that for you. We could have a free society where everybody prospers, but you have to get rid of the greed and the envy. And to do that, you got to get rid of the money. If you get rid of the monetary system, everybody becomes equal. Okay, everybody has the same.
All right, John, not to interrupt you here, but I think Tony Talk is on the line here. Not to interrupt you, and you gave some interesting thoughts there. I'm going to do some research on that and why that will not work. But he says he's calling in from a private number, so we'll see. We'll see. John, don't worry. You're on for the rest of the show. We still got an hour left. But Tony Talk's been bugging me in the chat room here. So I'm going to give it one shot here. One shot, and if this isn't Tony Talk, I'm going to ignore whatever Tone Sanchez has to say. Richard Sanchez, area code 206. That's his real area code, by the way. Calls from a satellite phone. But let me give a chance here. Private caller, go ahead. You claim to be Tony Talk. Go ahead. Go ahead, private caller. It's apparent that Tone is not on the line. All right, he dropped. Yep, he ran away. All right, well, that was your last chance. Tone Talk. You're a bunch of nonsense. You're angry with me. I don't think it's really Tony Talk and his entertainment trolls. I really don't. Before I bring what Mandela Khan's answer is on this and John to finish his answer, I'll go to 336 and see what they have to say. Go ahead, 336.
Hello, this is Kevin from the Gold's Gym. I have an 11-inch cock. I'm looking to hook up.
All right,
goodbye. All
right, a bunch of stoonages there, like Tony Talk likes to say. All right, John, finish your point. I'll give you like I'll give you 2 minutes. Finish your point, and then I'm going to bring Mandela Khan back on here and give him 2 minutes uninterrupted. I don't know where Angel Lady Love is tonight. She said she was going to call back in, but usually when she does, I'll give more details, but she never does, so I don't know why. But go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's real simple, man. We should have one law: do no harm. If you're not doing harm, you're not hurting anyone. You're good. you know, and people should just naturally, and it's human nature to help others. We've been indoctrinated out of it. We've been taught otherwise by the capitalist system, which is what screwed up mankind, you know, the money system. But do no harm. The more laws you have, the more tyranny you have. That's a fact. You know, these laws are just for tyranny. They're not to protect any of it, and they make everybody believe they're protected by all these laws. We don't need these laws. They create situations. They publicize them on TV like if it's a big problem when it's not. Look at the war on drugs. They flooded our streets with drugs. Okay? And then they claim they're going to do a war on drugs. Yet they kept flooding the streets with more and more drugs. Now they war on child trafficking. They're flooding our streets with child traffickers, and we're getting more and more child traffickers and more children being trafficked. It's the same scenario all the time by the government. They use the same techniques to fool us every time, and we think we need them. When it's them that is the problem. We get rid of them, we get rid of all our problems. Everything else will work itself out. We get rid of the monetary system and the government ruling over us. You know, the Constitution is good, but we're not following the Constitution. That's the problem with it. And we're not following it because they've talked us out of it. They've manipulated us out of it. And, you know, with that said, man, I think humanity needs to take a 180. That's all it is to it. We have to do a 180, and things will fix themselves if we can just get rid of rulers and dictators like our governments, you know, and stop giving the power to other people. We don't need people to govern us. We're capable of governing ourselves. We don't need a police force. The people are the police force. Somebody starts doing harm, and nobody allows him to, you know, because nobody's going to allow it, and it will not happen. And there won't be any reason to do harm other than emotional reasons once we get rid of the monetary system, and that's going to be lovers' quarrels, basically. And that's the little thing that they're going to have to learn to work with, and people are going to have to educate themselves to be, you know, responsible about. Understand when someone says, I don't want to be with you, walk away. Walk away. It hurts, but walk away. If you really care about that person, you'll want them to be happy. So walk away when they say walk away. Now, you don't keep someone's children from them either. If there's a children and there's a marriage, 50-50 all the way. You do not keep them from the parent to hurt the other parent. That's the problem we have in the country today. One parent gets hurt emotionally, uses the children against the other parent. The government provides that opportunity because they support it, because it destroys the American life and the American way. So, you know, with that said, you know, go ahead and address callers, man. Let us talk.
Hey, Mandela Khan, go ahead. I promise to give you a couple minutes again. Go ahead.
Let me say this, that in order to change things, you have to forget what you think you know and start again for this reason. The lie of this is a country, a rule of law, that's not true. It's rule without regard for law. And the proof is the three laws I mentioned: common law, international law, and natural law. The people belong to Mother Earth, and Mother Earth belongs to the people. Therefore, we have to create that venue in order for the proper administration to take control of a corrupted social system that's worldwide. And the lady from 756, I think her number was, from Indiana, matriarchal daughter, one of the women that's a part of the transition of power, she put the sentence out there that you were talking so loud you probably didn't hear, but I'll help you remember. And what she said was a society where not Mandela Khan, not John, not Joe Gibson, not Donald Trump or Barack Obama has jurisdiction over Mother Earth, the mothers, grandmothers, and great-grandmothers. Why? Because now we have Adam and Steve and Mary and Eve with your Masonic order of your patriarch. In your books, the Bible, Torah, Quran, Hebrew, Israelites, Moors, and Muslims and Christians, it said Adam and Eve, and even your own concept has been overridden to where now my children, your children, must be taught, when none of us have freedom, justice, total independence, my children must be taught how to sodomize and give each other oral sex as a precursor to this so-called independent freedom that y'all are so busy fighting for because of the fondling fathers, by the way. All of this pedophilia, this bestiality, and this rape came from the highest spiritual, highest religious order of your sector, the popes, the cardinals, the bishops, the monsignors, and worked its way down to the storefront Baptist church, the aid to dependent children, as the lady was talking about, the judges, the courts. The whole system is here to not P-R-A-Y with the people, but P-R-E-Y on the women and children under the Masonic order and the patriarch. So the final conclusion is class action 567 under the committee of one on behalf of the committee of the whole. That's a political term saying that we must organize to overturn these tyrants until we get the accumulative numbers that's needed and necessary to march on the capitals, march the hordes on the capitals of injustice and arrest every one of those tyrants in there. I don't care if they're black and got fat asses and locks in their hair. They're going to prison for life without possibility of parole. Why do we say that? Because we have live and let live. We won't execute anyone. But if we keep what we have under the Confederate flag and the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the red, white, and blue, the whole planet Earth is plunged into kill or be killed under the Masonic order of the patriarch. That's exactly and precisely what we're dealing with. And the people are the government. The government is not the people. So now the time of the sign in which we live is to organize in place. And if we can do it, we can do it from these gadgets, gizmos, and widgets, or we can do it in the streets. Unfortunately, people are too busy. Unfortunately, people got too much on their mind. They're doing other things and everything. And so many people now are sending
All
their
right,
children.
I'll leave you on the line. Let's get to some other callers here. Private caller, go ahead. That's been waiting a long time. Go ahead, private caller.
Hello?
Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's Tony. It's Tony.
Yeah, Tony. What do you need, Tony?
Oh,
What's going on with you? What's going on with you saying that, what's going on? Because I want to know what's going on here. We're supposed to be friends. What's going on here with the war? You reported my show. What's going on?
Well, I don't know what's going on, Tony. I don't know what's going on. You explain it to me. You do your show. Everyone claims to be me, and you believe them. So I don't understand what's going on here. I don't get it either.
No, okay. Here's what's going on. I get my show reported. First of all, hello, Mandela Khan. I think you're a good guy.
Yeah.
I like a lot of things that you say. First of all. Shit. Okay, fine.
Yeah, Tone, I don't understand what's going on, why people are trying to make you and me on Blog Talk Radio to be enemies. I don't understand what the goal is here. But whatever people have said is totally untrue.
They said Joseph Gibson reported you. They showed me a screenshot that you reported me for trolling your show, which I've never done. I don't troll your show. Okay, I get trolls of my own. And the other thing is, I'm getting a bunch of emails from people saying that you got HIV. That you got HIV from...
I got HIV?
From Pastor Ken, and you've been having sex with people and not telling them about it, and that's against the law. I want to make sure that's not true, because I can't associate myself with people like this.
No, Tony Talk, no. I don't have HIV, not that I know of anyway, but I know you do a Blog Talk Radio show yourself, and you're very popular. Well, why don't you go ahead and promote your show for everybody out here listening? Maybe they can get on your show sometime, huh? Go ahead. Promote your show for me.
I don't need a free plug. You know, I got enough listeners. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with us because you and I are supposed to be friends. I don't need a free advertisement, okay? People hear Tony talk, they sign on, and they listen. Then I don't need to plug anything in. But thank you anyway.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I don't have any problems with you, Tony Talk. I know you do a podcast show that's very popular on Blog Talk Radio, but we're here discussing serious issues, and the trolls from your show are coming over here attacking my listeners, and here we're trying to have a serious conversation.
Hey, my name is Richard Sanchez. That is not my name. My name is Tony. My name is Anthony Gagato. That's my real name.
Actually, that's false information, Tony Talk. You know your real name is Richard Sanchez, and you know that. And you're from the Massachusetts area. Yeah, that's really your name. And you used to call into my show and say your name was Tone, actually, if you remember correctly. And Metallicon remembers Tone also.
Do not be a stunad. Tony is short for Anthony.
All right. Well, anyway, you can call yourself Tone, Moan, whatever you want to call yourself, but I know who you are. You know that, and I know that. But a lot of your listeners, though, Tone, have been reported to the FBI, actually, for spoofing their caller ID and contacting me. So I just wanted to let you know that. So I advise them to stop, and you should probably do that maybe in the future on your show. So I've never called in and threatened you or slandered your name or done anything, but your listeners have threatened me, so I just want you to know that, and shame on them for doing so.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. You're threatening J-Bo. You're threatening Derek. You're threatening Ted Gunderson. You're threatening all these people. That's what you do. And now you're saying
no, I never threatened Derek. I never threatened Derek, Tone. I never did. But I gave you a free plug on your show, on my show here tonight to promote your show. And I know you got a lot of perverts and a lot of idiots that call into your show. So, but what do you think of the Federal Reserve? And what do you think about, while I got you on the phone, what do you think about Trump ordering all U.S. businesses out of China? What do you think about that?
I think that, you don't really want to know what I think about this political stance. You're not going to want to know what I think. I think anybody that is going around and lying to people about HIV and giving them the disease, it's not good. That's all I want to discuss is that.
I heard you caught a disease on a cruise ship. That's what people were telling me. You caught a disease on a cruise ship, actually. Remember that show? And you got sick and were in the hospital. What was going on with that?
But they're trolls. And I got all these people that are saying that you got HIV from Pastor Ken's boyfriend, Tony Furtado, and you're going around passing it to me. Joe, I thought you were a good guy. And how are you going to run for office like this? How are you going to do that?
Why? A guy with HIV can't run for office? Are you discriminating against people, Tone?
No, I just don't think you should lie to people. I think you should tell everybody up front that you have HIV.
Well, I don't. I don't have HIV, and I'm telling everybody right now. I'll be like Magic Johnson. I'll be cured magically, maybe. You know.
I gotta go.
If I did have it. All right, Tony Talk. Yeah, he got off before the Trace got on there. Yep, Tony Talk. Yep. That was Tony Talk from the Tony Gaga show. That's Tone, Richard Sanchez there, area code 206. I won't give out his full number because he's called me privately many times. But let's get to a next caller. That was Tony Talk, and a lot of people know Tony Talk is very popular on Blog Talk Radio. All the nut jobs call in. Yeah, they're hanging up now, aren't they? Yeah, that's right. You better hang up. But anyway, I wanted to address before I get to the next caller about we talked about self-government. Actually, let's get back to serious conversation here, and get rid of these Blog Talk trolls. Tap Into the Truth, great podcast show, John. Maybe you should listen to it. Global Patriot Network, Mendelicon. These guys out there, they talk about real issues, and they'll give you a voice. I want to give them a shout-out. But as far as self-governance goes, John was talking about that, and Mendelicon was also. So I'll read something here real quick for you, and then I'll start taking some other callers. Self-mastery. Is self-government or self-control the foundation of a strong, godly life, growth, and producing fruit? If a person cannot govern himself, if he cannot master his passions, he will certainly not have a good relationship with his fellow man or God. His life will likely be marked by major excessiveness. The biblical writers use the word in various ways: to behave in an orderly manner, to be sober, serious, sane, sound-minded, discreet, self-disciplined, prudent, and moderate. And that goes to what the Founding Fathers had to say also in the Federalist Papers. I believe that was Federalist Papers 89. In context of a person controlling himself, Paul from the Bible says, "For I say through the grace given to me to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought not to think, but to think soberly, as God has dealt to each one a measure of faith." Okay? A person who has self-mastery is even-handed, and his passions are under control. He makes proper use of his drives and desires, and his manner of life is not one of extremes. A person reflecting this quality will be making steady progress and growing into the perfectly balanced character which Jesus Christ is. All right? And if you go to Proverbs 25:28, we see a good example of self-control implied in Proverbs 25:28. Whoever has no rule over his own spirit is likely a city broken down without walls. No specific Hebrew word in this sentence means self-control, but rule certainly implies it. In its comments on this verse, the Interpreter's Dictionary of the Bible states, the picture is that of a city whose walls have been so nearly destroyed as to be without defense against its enemy. So is the man who has no restraint over his spirit. The source of man's passionate energies, he has no defense against anger, lust, and other unbridled emotions that destroy the personality. Okay? So basically what I'm trying to say is that self-governance, like Mendelicon wants to bring on, let live, one love, and let's just do whatever the heck we want, we're going to be okay. That's not going to happen without some sort of governance or people overseeing how people act or how they act. But, however, we have allowed these money masters and these criminals that are self-ignorant and I guess you could say, I don't know what the right word is to say. Basically, greed. Evil flourishes when good men do nothing. So all I'm trying to say is that these qualities carry through within their own spiritual warfare. The individual soldier not only took orders from his captain, he also thought independently to act for the benefit of the regiment. This frequently became necessary in the heat of battle when the leader was incapacitated by wounds or other distractions. Another, thus a factor that made the Greek fighting machine so invincible. We go back into history again, but we want to talk about how we can become self-mastery over our own individual lives. I think that's what John was talking about, is that we all should be our own individual gods, our own individual people. I think that's what Mendelicon's talking about when he talks about the People's Revolution, is that one love, let live. However, throughout the history of mankind and throughout, all our lives in which we've lived so shortly in the flesh today, that doesn't work. You go into any inner city And you see what happens when you have little governmental control. You have people going crazy. They're killing each other over what pleasures and materialistic things they think they own or want to have. And the problem is that we have to have some sort of law and order. And that's my question to the people out there listening tonight. What type of law and order should we have? Well, we have the Constitution. It's still there. All we have to do is restore the Republic and restore our Constitution. Now, Mandelakon's talking about a people's revolution and the matriarch. And when I pose questions about the matriarch, he has said in the past, I am the judge, you cannot question me. Well, that kind of sounds a little bit like God, right, John? You can't question me, I am God. So, he reverts back to a religious state of mind. So, if nobody can question his fellow man or what he believes in or how he should act, hang on, Mandelcon, I'll give you first response to this and what I'm saying. If no man can question his fellow man and we're all going to just let live in one love, then surely we're all logical here and have common sense. That's not going to play out. We just can't kill or be killed. Look, even if we own everything that we want and we just give away everything that through the fruits of our labor and what we have, you're going to have someone else who always wants more, someone who's going to be jealous of what you have or you created. So how do we get around that together as a people? How do we achieve self-righteousness and basically overcome the human nature of greed and wanting to kill each other over what the next man has? For instance, I've got a girlfriend that maybe look better than your girlfriend, and maybe you want my girlfriend. So what are you saying? Let love and let live? I should let my fellow man have his way with my girlfriend? Is that what you're saying? Or just say, I planted a crop in my backyard and it was better than my next door neighbor's. I should just let people just take mine because it's better than the next man's? If I build something and create something on my own that's better than my next door neighbor's or somebody over in Ethiopia or in Europe, I should just give it away? The fruits of my labor should be given away? Those are my questions here to the conversation that we're having, where John was saying, we don't need any type of monetary system. We should all just live in utopia. Well, utopia has been tried. It happened in the Garden of Eden, didn't it? Man and woman lived in utopia, but yet the woman was deceived by a deceiver that wanted something else than utopia. He wanted, which we call the devil in the Bible, and Satan wanted control over what God created, right? Isn't that true? If you believe in that story, if you don't, but you could just look at how we're living in today's times. I mean, you see your next door neighbor with a brand new car, and your car's old and leaking oil with bald tires. You want what your next door neighbor has. So how do we achieve that? We're going to go over there and kill him for it? So that's where we get human government involved and laws, and we get back to common law. Common law means, look, if I offend you or I hurt you, I'm guilty of a seditious crime. I'm guilty of hurting my fellow man, and that's what the Constitution was based upon. Now, in today's times, we have what? We've become corrupt. We have, and we can carry on with the codes and statutes and the Federal Reserve and the money changers, and that's what we're trying to get at here on this show, is we need to erase the root of all evil, which is what today? Money, materialistic goods. And I think Mandelcon was talking about Mother Earth's resources should be available to all men and all women. But how could that be available to all men and women when only certain people know how to extract Mother Earth's resources? So what are you saying? That what I created and what I did and how I invented it, I should just give it away to my fellow man? Go ahead, Mandelcon. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Okay, now let me correct your error. When I speak on behalf of the matriarch, it's a specific exact, precise reason why I do so. That's why I say there is no third party. In other words, you can't come in and have a wet dream and scramble up what I said and make it sound like I said this when it's you taking what I say and twisting it on what you want. So I say there's no third party, no ventriloquist or interpreter, no negotiations on the transition of power. There'll be no questions based on how we get there. We are
But transition to power to who, Mandela Khan? Transition to power to who?
There you go.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. You made a statement. Transition of power.
I done told you several times. I done told you several times. I'm going to say it again, which you won't recognize because you're a Masonic figure under the patriarch. See, you have to fight life and death for what you believe in, which is a damn lie. But transition of power back to the stolen legacy, which wasn't black versus white. It was wrong versus right. It was wrong for me, you, or any man to dictate the commodities and the resources. Now, you say about if you extract this from where. Now, lay the map of the world out under the Creator, not under the United States of America, under your narrow-minded nationalism. When you talk about extracting the commodities and the wealth and the resources, and lay the map of the world out to see where you're getting all of this precious metals that you never talk about. You talk about the World Bank and, the Federal Reserve. No, you don't talk about the World Bank. You only talk about the Federal Reserve. But the IMF and the World Bank, they know what I'm talking about. They know that this so-called counterfeit, this paper, is not even worth the paper that the Constitution is written on because the commodities that you are at war with is not concentrated in Europe. And I don't have to go through all of the commodities I'm talking about, but what I'm talking about is
the real commodities of the earth, Mandela Khan, are oil, gold, and silver. So, so who's in control of those commodities? The women of the world?
That's what you say. But I can name a whole bunch of things that's not in your coltan. Right?
I'm just giving one example of the commodities of the world.
You
can't analyze it in a whole general spectrum of what I'm saying. What are the commodities of the world in the matriarch?
You won't let me because here's where the United States of Africa and the nationalization and the global reset will take place because all of you illegal alien European invaders in your military, you need those commodities that's not in Europe in order for you to live this affluent life that you're living where you can fly all over the planet right now. But before, you couldn't, just like the coffee down in South and Central America, the tropical rainforest, when you found out that the people of indigenous Amazon wanted to maintain their sovereignty and integrity and dignity in their constitution, then you set the shit on fire, right? And act like you don't know what's happening. But the key is the matter is that what white power can't have, your ass. The truth of the matter is, what white power can't have, they'll destroy as much as they can, and it's called scorched earth. Y'all got a scorched earth policy, and you use it, and you try to force me to go along with your monopoly Ponzi scheme, which means that I'm under genocide, atrocities, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and just like the lady was saying, specific exact crimes against women and children that's so appalling and offensive and reprehensible, you won't even allow them to be on the table. That's why I got to help you remember. So what I'm saying to you is altogether different because under your God and country, that's a terrible motherfucker. And I say that in love. That's some terrible shit when you got to authorize rape, war, pillaging, plundering, and then say, well, look, this is God. Do you think that the divine intelligence called the creation needed your meager ass to fight for the divine intelligence? No. Just like John has said, the animals, the flowers and trees, if y'all can force them to pay a penny, which you can't because they're under natural law, they're under common law, and they're under international law, you see, that's life more abundantly. Humans are the highest form of life.
Well, I explained to you international law, and you never gave me an answer. International law actually began in 1948.
I'm explaining to you.
I'm
explaining what you got is not
We
no
can argue
law.
all day long about history. Mandela Khan, real quick, let's let John get in here. He's been waiting here patiently. John, go ahead. I read a little bit there and made some commentary. Go ahead. It's your turn. Go ahead.
Natural law is do no harm. It's that simple. Do no harm. If you're not doing harm, you're not hurting anyone. That's an emotional thing. People got to rise above that. Okay? It's not harming somebody. That's the problem with religion. You offend somebody's religion, they want to go to war. They want to fight. They want to get radical about it. But natural law is do no harm. That's simple. One law. And as far as the worry about the people, the farmers that produce.
I'm losing you, John. You're breaking up on me, John.
Farmers that produce the food, you get all the food you want for free. People that build housing, you get all the housing you want for free. People that produce the electricity, you get all the electricity that you want for free. People that produce the oil, you get all the oil for your vehicles for free. You get everything for free. You get your vehicles for free when you need them. Okay, we produce. Now, when you produce something that you produce in abundance, you share with the people. That's all that's asked of you, that everybody do their part and replenish the well. If we all worked to filling that well, we would all have access to anything we wanted in life, anything we needed, and it wouldn't take a monetary value to control it. When you have the monetary value, you have the capitalist system. Then one man controls everything and rules over all other men. It's very simple philosophy. I mean, it's easy, and it's what we should have been doing. It's what the Native.
So are you talking about, John, natural law, a moral theory of jurisprudence? Natural law is a moral theory of jurisprudence which maintains that law should be based on morality and ethics?
No. Do no harm. You can't put your morality, what you don't like, somebody else might like to do. And as long as they're not harming somebody doing it. That's where religion and morality come in. What is morality? It's what somebody else deems their morality. But you can't enforce your morality on another person, but you can enforce them do no harm to others.
Yeah, but John, there are universal standards that apply to all mankind through all time. These universal moral standards are inherent, and discoverable by all of us, and form the basis of a just society. In the end, where does law come from? So that's what I'm trying to say is that natural law, like I just said, is a theory of,
Natural laws do no harm. If you're not doing harm, you're not committing a crime. That is basically what this country was supposed to be founded under. If you're not harming somebody, you're not committing a crime. Okay? That's basic law. That's still today, but they don't go by it because they do what they want, because we got a terrorist organization ruling over our country, ruling over the world, and attacking the world. And the few countries that have it pretty good, we've attacked them all. Like he says, he did to Africa, horrible, but we've done it to so many other countries. We've done it to 200 countries already. It's not, and they're doing it to us here. As long as there are rulers, as long as there are dictators, as long as there are governments, we will never have peace on this planet.
But that's what I was trying to say, John, basically, is that human government is naturally formed amongst the people. So therefore, like I just told you, if I have in my backyard an oil well, you're saying that all the people should just raid my backyard and have it for free, and I should say, hey, you guys should take it, even though I work for it.
Let me explain to you. Okay, let me explain this to you. You have an oil well. It is your obligation to produce for the people, because the people are all producing for you. Everybody's out there working so you can have anything you want in the world. Doesn't matter what it is, you can have it. Your contribution is that you're producing oil for them. So now you're doing your part. So now, by you doing your little part and running your little oil well and producing for the people.
Yeah, but John, all right, John, but we all have individual talents as human beings. That's just like the old story: 7 men are stranded on an island, and 3 of the men are fishermen. Okay, and they bring the fish to the dinner table, and then the other 3 are experts in building a fire to cook the fish. And then there's one guy that says, hey, this life is pretty good, because I don't know anything, so therefore everyone should provide for me. That doesn't work. You know what I mean?
have to do something. He'll have to clean up for everybody or whatever. There will always be a part. There is always work.
Yeah, but who decides that, John? On the island of 7 men, who decides that? Then now, here we go, we institute some sort of form of human government. You know, who decides that? What if that guy says, no, you guys brought the fish to me. You created the fire. You know what? I don't want to work. I just want to lay back. And you know what? After all, it's a part of Mother Earth. It belongs to me. I should just lay back and enjoy the benefits and fruits of your labor. That's not going to work, John, because eventually those 3 fishermen and those 3 guys who built the fire to cook the fish are going to say, hey, this guy's not doing nothing. Why should we provide for him? Now, here we go. We got the beginning of human law, human nature, jealousy.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. That's where we get into where morality. You're required.
Well, there you go. And that reverts to God, a creator.
You choose what you're good at, what you want to do, what your passion is, and you produce for the people in that area. You don't have to work a 90-hour
But what if I'm not
work
good at anything? What if I'm not good at anything, John? And I say, I just want to lay back and watch everyone else work. Am I wrong? Because after all, there's no judge, there's no creator. I should be able to enjoy the fruits of everyone else's labor.
Nobody on the planet lives under that, John. Why you, Joe? Why you want to bring that up? Let me just say one sentence.
I'm just using a simplistic value here. This is a human nature problem.
There's not a good government in Africa. Let me show you what I mean. A good government is a government that provides to people, like John said.
And other callers, just as real quick, Mandela-Con, other callers, I'll get to you. I'll get to other callers. Go ahead, Mandela-Con.
Okay, I said a minute. Good government, from the Congo to the Bongo, is when it provides the people. I don't care who invents it or whose lot or whose plot you say it's on, because that all belongs to the people. A good government provides the people with the most, not the least, the most access to communication. That's number one. Water, food, clothing, shelter, healthcare protection, so they can be stable in their local municipalities. If that government is not providing the people with those things that keep them stable, they're tyrants, and they have to be overturned. I'm saying the governments from the Congo to the Bongo have to be overturned. Maybe I can help you a little bit.
Amen. I believe you 100% on that.
All right. Okay. Let's take other callers here. 505. 505 has been waiting a while. Go ahead, 505.
How you doing, guys? This is Aaron. I called yesterday. But, I was agreeing with you guys on that. I think the thing that we have lost as a people is morals. Now everything is all crazy. Everything's all out of control. You got kids in schools that they're showing kids how to give oral sex. I mean, what happened? You know what I'm saying? What happened? So,
we've abandoned our creator. We've abandoned the Constitution. We've abandoned some moral standard.
It has nothing to do with our creator. It has to do with ruling the world, putting this system into effect in our country. They are doing it by design, the rulers of this country, because this is a dictatorship. We're under a dictatorship. Right. They say, okay, implement. They're forcing it on our kids. They're taking away the authority of the parents, and so the parents can't stop it, and they're brainwashing the kids. Look at the TV nowadays. Every show has guys kissing guys and women kissing women. Every single show. That is not an accident. That is to indoctrinate the children. In the next generation.
Even in cartoons.
John, indoctrinate the children in what way? What's wrong with women kissing women
Sexual
and men kissing men?
Attitude.
What's wrong with that?
It's not natural, to be honest with you. Okay, if a
it's
grown adult
unnatural.
wants to do it,
who says it's unnatural? Who is a man hurting by kissing another man? Is he hurting you?
No, I don't got no problem with him doing it. But the point is, you don't indoctrinate it into the children. You don't teach them that this is good. This is what it's supposed to be. You don't do that because natural by just to survive, we have to propagate, which means man and woman get together. And that is a core fiber of humanity and any animal out there, and how they survive. not going to survive by having sex with their equal counterparts. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right, John. Let me get to some other callers here, time permitting, because we're winding it down here. Let's go to 321. 321. Go ahead.
My name is
321.
Fire Marshal for the Commerce Township Fire Department. We're here at Commerce Township Fire Station 4 to talk about the importance of changing your batteries in your smoke alarms. They recommend weekly.
All right, okay, all right. Thank you, 321. All right, thank you for that comedy. Thank you so much. Sounds like Tony talk. Private caller, go ahead.
Hey, am I open?
Yeah, you're open. Go ahead. You're open. The floor is yours.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Chief, Brother Joseph Gibson and Mandelicon and all the. These are the days in which we live. Is that how we say it, or? But I'm hurting
understanding
because,
the times in which you live in today, and we're surely understanding them, aren't we? Go ahead, Angel
well,
Lady
I'm
Love.
saying that right now, as it was over 20-some-odd years ago, we had a melanin-rich young man on the news. And in those days, this is one of the few melanin-rich men in the news at a television station. He looked up what I had asked him about the Congo, because I'd hear Honorable Mandelicon keep saying from the Bongo to the Congo, and it was touching my heart. And I said, what do they do in the Congo? And he was able to bring up on the news, and they moved him, by the way. I hope he's still in the news. But more emphatically, he showed on television these 3-year-old, they had to be 2 3-year-old children, may have been one, on these look like upside down bicycles, no shoes on. You see the little tattered dresses and little pants that they'd have on, and all this dust and dirt in Africa, Congo. And they were mining the very cobalt and coltan poison. And this is used for all of your Wi-Fi products, your cell phones, iPhones, iPads, all the stuff they're forcing on the children here that's making them quite paralyzed, by the way. They're now trying to say they have a new polio. But I pray that someone will look that up and get a visual for you. Because as I've heard you all talking, it cut into me, and then I have the script, and that's still happening. China's over there, and these children only get pennies. And what are they doing with their parents, just as they did in this country? They remove their parents from the children. The parents are the ones that they're telling them that they have Ebola. And that's to keep them from the other adults. And they have done this on such a routine basis. Please find visual for it. And the fact remains that they're taking their, especially the melanin is in the largest organ of our body, our skin. These, especially Caucasians, are using the melanin to make their lotions, and they use real melanin. So that means they're really using human beings' melanin. And I can give more details. I heard early one morning, heard that commercial, infomercial we call it in the business. Add that to the fact every organ. I think I've given you Jeremiah 19:9, Deuteronomy 28:55, 2 Kings chapter 6 verses 24 to 33. And that's just a tip of the proverbial iceberg in the Old Testament, that these people have been eating people's organs and things of those natures. But these, and I think I told you that this year I found that, last year started paying attention. That now, all of this has been organ harvesting. You think there's shootings. This is for the blood plasma. That's why I say for rectification, I would not allow any mongoloids nor Caucasoids to adopt melanin-rich children, even if they're mixed blood, because they're using the blood plasma for their transfusions and then bragging about it. The companies are even talking about it. Add that to the fact I was allowed no drafting of anyone for any wars. No drafting. But back to what I'm asking someone to please look these visuals up. The fact remain and or the written material. I can't find mine right now to give you a URL.
All right, Angel Lady Love. Last night, Angel Lady Love, we brought up, we started out the conversation here tonight. Not to interrupt you, but I know you can carry on for a very long time. But I know you have a lot to say. However, last night John brought up, the original conversation started, well, men wrote the Constitution, so therefore I said, well, why should we believe the Constitution? Because nobody's alive today that wrote the Constitution. Because John said men wrote the Bible. So therefore, how can we believe that the Bible is true? That was the original point that we started here tonight. So, Angel Lady Love, how do we know the Bible is true today? And how do we know that because what men wrote in the Bible is true, and why would a God do such bad things? Why would God divide his people if he loved them so much and he created the people? Why should we be worshiping a God that is of hate, basically? Do you have an answer for that, Angel Lady Love?
The Most High Mother, Father, Creator is not of hate. And the fact remains that we are given a free will. We have our laws. Religiosity, for the most part, are founded by the same entities because religion is to take control. That's why they do that. That's how it come about with that. Because remember, at one time, the Romans were killing what they called and purportedly called Christians. And I don't like that word because I see the word Antichrist, but Christ means the anointed one. But more emphatically, the key here is they saw that, wait a minute, why are we killing them? And when they found more about what this is about, and they worked out a way that, look, these pagans over here, let's pull them all together. Very
wise. But Angel Lady Love, I asked you to hang on. Angel Lady Love, you dodged the entire question. You should run for political office. Actually, what I'm trying to say is, why is God's word true? Why is God's word the infallible word of the Bible?
All the written words were written by the supreme beings. Okay, when the Caucasoids got it, they started pulling together. In 325 A.D. in Nicene, the Council of Nicene, they took out many of the books from the Bible, which we later started calling Bible. Bible means book, by the way, made up of many books. Okay?
All right, Angel Lady Love, I know. Hang on, not to interrupt you again, with all due respect. Hang on, Angel Lady Love. How do we fix the problems we're facing today? How do we face it? Because people are not going to agree with what you have to say about history. We've already been over that already on the show. How do we understand the times in which we live in today? How do we move forward as a people? Can you give me an answer on that?
Now, if you don't look up a picture in your mind, these suffering children in Africa and those Chinese not even paying them pennies and killing their parents as they did in this country. And when you brought so-called Africans here, you didn't want us to become Mongoloids. You brought children. You did not bring any strong, strapping men. So that's another lie. But the bottom line here is I am telling you that the key here is that it's greed. Now, every law, we have laws, and we were able, the ones that were able to pull my documents together, okay, and there's still some more books, and many of them were hiding them from, what is that area, the doggone tribe, what is that area called?
All right, but Angel Lady Love, I don't want to go into history because we've already done that. What I'm trying to say is, what's the solution? What's the solution today?
Somebody. Look up these little children, the Coltan, C-O-L-T-A-N-E,
Yeah, but people don't want to look up history. They don't believe it, Angel Lady Love. That's my point.
Because it's making them paralyzed.
I'm trying to get an understanding of how we move forward today, Angel Lady Love. What do we do?
All of you paralyzed, impatient right now. If you're in front of a computer
But Angel Lady Love, we can't talk about cockazoids and something from 2,000 years ago because we have people on the line today that don't believe what you're saying. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I'm answering your question. All of these devices, the buses, are remote control, electrical. All of these products are in those remote control buses. Here in Philly, the public buses are called. They have cameras in every seat. They have cameras on the outside of the bus. Plus, they really don't need a bus driver. And the bus driver.
So what do we do? I don't care about bus drivers. What do we do today? How do we, as a people, move forward from that? We can analyze all day long the microchips implanted in our back of our head and blah blah blah. How do we move forward today? What do we do as a people? How do we move forward? We know there's cameras in everywhere. We know there's barcodes in our underwear. We know that. Okay. How do we move forward today?
Let me try to tell you. We naturally have the ability for telepathy, teleportation, all of the variables that you've seen in the Bible, Old and New Testament. My highest commander and many of his apostles learned they did not even have to get on a donkey to travel across town. That's teleportation. Telepathy is communicating. And I have done that with my family, and I try to remind mothers they have it naturally with their children. And right now, the ancestors, we are each one made up of our ancestors. The common denominator, despite Caucasoids being genetically engineered, and from the no offense, and even the ones that are the pseudo-humankind, I used to call them androids, the pseudo-humankind anthropomorphic AI.
But what do we do today? What is the solution? What is the solution? What do we do?
The common denominator is a soul. And I cannot tell you who has a soul and who doesn't. We all have to move about as we have one. And if you know that there's no such thing as death.
All right, so we all have a soul. Let's agree on that. Hang on, Angel Lady Love, let's have a discussion here.
26.
Oh, Lord.
Pardon me?
All right, I don't want to go back 2,000 years ago. Let's talk about today.
No, that's not 2,000.
What
that's
do we do
here
today?
What is
the answer today?
They have their glorified body, just like Jesus the Christ showed his apostles. My mama called it the glorified body. Thank you,
all
Jesus.
right, but what do we do today to move forward? What do we do? What's the answer? What do we do? I'm trying, man, but you keep going back 2,000 years ago.
Please.
Because you haven't looked, you got the little devices there. They have pictures everywhere for you. Hone in on the pictures.
Okay, we know that, Angel Lady Love. We know that. We know that. So how do we stop it? How do we stop it?
There are children suffering. All this greed.
We know that. How do we stop it? How do we stop it? What do we do to move forward today? How do we organize as a people?
Declaration of Independence. They use my tenets. We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. They can't take away, can't be given away, and cannot be separated among these.
But they're doing it, Angel Lady Love. But they're doing it. So how do we stop it?
The government and start listening and then respecting. That's what. And stop being impatient.
Yeah, but we're too busy talking, and we're talking about this from 2,000 years ago. Angel Lady Love, hang on. This is my point. This is what I'm trying to ask everybody in their closing thoughts here tonight. What is the solution to the problem? Yes, we know they got cameras on telephone poles. We know they got smart meters that are burning down our houses. Yes, we know this. And you know, so what do we do to stop it?
You have to tell them to stop, take control. Each one. And this is my saying from the 70s. Each one, reach one, teach one. That's me, darling. Another one of my intellectual properties. The bottom line here is, in those days, You find 10 people tell that one to tell the other 10, and then
I don't care about those days. I'm talking about today.
The bottom line is all this stuff is making us sick. And right now in my revelations, it tells you what's going to happen.
We know that, Angel Lady Love. We know
right
that.
Now, and some of you will be stuck.
I want solutions from everybody. I want solutions.
Hey, they said this rich man had $42 billion. Coke with a K.
God, I don't care about that. What's the solution?
1 minute, please.
Is the solution, people?
1 minute. Can John get 1 minute?
All right. Everybody, closing thoughts here. Everyone gets 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes only. Everyone gets 2 minutes to solve the problem that we're facing here today. First, I'm going to start with, let's see here. Everyone gets 2 minutes to try to solve the problems and understand the times we live in today. We can't talk about 3,000 years ago because we're going to carry on forever about it. Let's talk about tomorrow. What can we do together as a people tomorrow? Okay? Angel Lady Love, you go first. What can we do? Angel Lady Love first. Go ahead. What can we do?
Another scripture, Ecclesiastes chapter 3:15. King Solomon said, everything's in the now, past, present, and future. Now wake up. Add that to the fact I told you in this country especially, we the people are the government. Stop
we know that.
Food is poison.
We know that.
So why are you disrespecting me right now? You
Oh,
asked me
Lord.
a question, I'm trying to answer as best I can, and you're talking over me. And then you've got all these degenerates coming from these other countries. Those are the very Canaanites, and their ancestors are the conquistadors, sex with the little babies and all that. And they were the ones all up in the Romans, screwing on the little boys, as they call them, the Roman soldiers. The same Canaanites that screwing and got all.
Oh, hang on. All right. Go ahead, Angel Lady Love. You got 45 seconds left. Go ahead.
This sex thing, all this other abominable stuff, and making people violate laws. I told you, in the 70s, they told us they were going to make those people be the majority. And you ain't seen nothing yet.
All right, okay. All right, we ain't seen nothing yet. That's what I've been preaching on this show, exactly.
Well,
John, 2 minutes.
You ain't seen nothing. It's just revelation. You'll get there.
I know that, Angel Lady Love. I know that, but I want to know how to wake people up today. Or we're going to keep talking about what happened 4,000 years ago. That's not going to wake people up today.
I already told you.
That's my point.
I already told you. Just call me.
All right, well, stay on the line and be polite to the other. Oh, God. All right, John, what's our solution today, John? What's our solution?
My solution is simple. We take control of the system. The people in control are not subject to the laws they impose on us. Okay? They're immune to them. They do whatever they want. They destroy our whole society because they have no law to follow. The ones that are enforcing the law. She just hung up. That's all right, though. But the thing is, all we have to do is take control of the country. Somebody's
cares? Just carry on, John. Carry on.
All these cameras you're talking about, we turn them around. We don't need to watch the people. The people want to live in peace. Okay? We need to watch the government. We turn all the cameras around. We have the technology to put every politician on a TV screen 24 hours a day on a different channel. We have the technology to control our government so they don't have to make decisions for us. We get 100% transparency. There's no reason to keep something secret from the people you're vowing to protect. Why would you keep a secret from somebody you're vowing to protect? To hurt them. It's the only reason for secrecy, is to hurt us, to take control of our society, to destroy it. And like she says, it's 100% correct. They've been planning this for a long time. Agenda 21 has been known since the 70s that they've been working on it. And we're here at end times of it today. It ain't the Bible taking place. It isn't because of the Bible, because of God. They are intentionally making society go in the direction of the Bible so people will be religious and say, look, we're at end times. It's the Bible. God had it right. No, it's being done by men to this society. Do no harm is the first law we have to follow, the only law. And then the children would all be safe in other countries and everywhere around the world because we wouldn't be doing things to harm them. But it's all for profit. It's all for taking over, you know. And the more people there are, the harder it is for them to control. And that's why they have to exterminate so many of us right now. That's the end of Agenda 21. That's why they're destroying our ecosystem. And Angel, I'm sorry. You understand a lot of what's going on. You really do. And I like hearing you talk. But,
I try.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
You understand.
The whole spirit told me all over the world.
Only thing we can
All
do
right,
is
John. All right, Angel Lady Love, I'll let you speak again here. Go ahead, Mandela Khan. Go ahead. You get a couple minutes here. Go ahead.
I'd like to say, if I had my way, I would make all of you like Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Helen Keller, and Jose Feliciano. 3 things would be done. Your racism, bias, and prejudice will be over. There's a multitude of people needed immediately to avert what you, a prophet, you know, your forecaster and Angel Lady Love, well, I know what's coming next and such. But then when I ask the question about freedom, justice, third independence, how we break it happen, then everybody get amnesia, right? I'm telling you, this is the only way that we're going to get out of this. Massive numbers of people have to forget their racism, bias, and prejudice immediately, or we deserve the Holocaust, the genocide that y'all keep preaching about, right? So those massive numbers must come together without racism, bias, and prejudice, absent because of the exigent circumstances requires the exigency, which is the executive order, to bring the people to power without people killing all over this country and the planet. Y'all want World War III. Listen to what y'all talking about. I'm telling you that we, the people, must not be so blind that we don't believe our lying eyes when we see this Holocaust, which is worse than the Holocaust. And I'm saying that forget what I know or what you know or your papers, my book, your book. It means nothing. The book of how we got free, I'm the author of that story, you and me, those who want freedom, justice, total independence. All you got to do is go out and get as many people you can to say what day we're going to shut this goddamn nation down to get the redress that we already paid for. And if you don't have that kind of heart, if you're scared, say you're scared, goddammit, and back your ass away from the pulpit, podium, telephone, and microphone. We need massive numbers of people to come together, no matter whether they're Mongoloids, Caucasoids, or Nicoloids, all that bullshit. I'm not trying to hear that, you see. Anything that comes that separates, take away, and divide is evil. I don't care how nice it is. And anything that comes to add and multiply, you will become exceedingly great. It's time for us to do this. I rest their case.
Okay. All right, 505, do you want something to say here at the end?
Yes, I do. Like I said before, morals have lost our country. They're not longer going by that no more.
All right, he dropped. All right, Angel Lady Love, I'll give you 2 minutes here since John likes what you have to say. So I'll give you 2 minutes, and then I got to wrap up the show. Go ahead, Angel Lady Love. Go ahead. Oh, actually, hang on before you do. 76. Hang on. I'm sorry, I forgot one caller here. 765. You got something you want to say real quick? Maybe not. Okay. All right, Angel Lady Love, you get the final 2 minutes of the podcast here tonight. Go ahead.
Okay, this cyber stuff that we're in, they were saying, and look it up, please, on 60 Minutes. It must have been, at least I heard it on the radio. All of these cyberware, or what is it called, when they're stealing, they're shutting down hospitals with this cyberware and holding them ransomware, I think it's called. And if they don't pay millions of dollars, some of them, one smaller township was able to negotiate. They said they only had $8,000, so they gave them back their. See, we're too tied to the computer. As soon as these people took over their computer, they had to do everything manually. And they didn't, and that brings problems because everyone doesn't even know how to convert things into what the computer does. They can't even add and subtract. They don't have to because they've been used to pushing that button and it's hurting their body. All of this electronic stuff is messing everybody up. I don't care how rich they are, and I ask you to please read Revelation 6:14. That's the Richmond. Look it up, please. All of this, the earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. And that's why our parents told us and warned us. We get to this point, this is what's going to happen. So it's all in Revelation. Let the liars be liars still, because there's going to be a separation. And even on the little cyber, or little Netflix kind of things, they'll tell you what it looks like if when the earth stands still. Or so much when you're not able to clean the garbage trucks and the weeds keep growing all over the place. This is real. And you're all stuck on this, and many people don't know how to think. You're going to doctors. Medical doctors only practice. They do not know how to heal. Everybody's on opioids, drugs. Oh, let me get a pill for this. And the food is all messed up. I can't eat your food. Oh, there's supposed to be vegetables, and do you know vegetables are only roots, leaves, and stalks, and there's no such thing as vegetables. And that's so screwed up. I'm telling you, you're not getting any nutrition. There's no pleasure in the food anymore. And we are so, oh, my God, and then the other day, children jumping over fence, going in the swimming pool that they shouldn't be in. Swimming pool's the nastiest thing you want to get in. And talking about lead, I can give more details. It's making me, I'm just seeing in my mind's eye. Use your inner eye. The pituitary gland is the organ that handles all the organs, and the pineal gland is your third eye in your brain. People are eating this stuff. I told you, read the Old Testament. It's nothing new. But the savages, it's time.
All right, Angel Lady Love, I got to wrap up the show, everybody. Everybody, thanks for participating. John, especially John, I appreciate it. Mandelicon, of course. All right, we got to wrap up the podcast here. So good night, everybody. Take care. Another interesting podcast. Next weekend, we'll be on, again, understanding the times in which we live in today.
God bless you.